So we'll start. Hope everybody has joined. So we are going to discuss anal canal today. Okay. So what is this picture showing us?
Thermometer.
Thermometer. That means to check the body temperature, instead of oral temperature, we can also go with rectal. Okay. By putting a thermometer in the anal orifice. Okay. That is more authentic in fact. Now, let us talk about the anal canal. What is the length I told you yesterday? Of course, it
4
is
centimeters.
12 centimeters.
yeah, very good. So
12.
that
Oh,
was
canal.
that was rectum, no? Okay. So anal canal is the terminal part of the alimentary tube. Okay, it starts from the anorectal junction and it ends 3 to 4 centimeters behind or below the tip of the coccyx. Okay, the size is 3.8 centimeters. Now, what are the relations? See, this is the anal orifice, isn't it? So anteriorly, it is related to perineal body. I think this window is here. I don't know why this window is not going nowadays. Okay, but we know pretty well this picture, no? Okay, this is the perineal body. Okay, and here we will see bulb of penis in case of male and posterior vaginal wall in case of female. So this forms the anterior relation. Behind this is anococcygeal raphe. Yesterday also it was there, extending from the tip of the coccyx. I have shown you this. Isn't it green line? That is anococcygeal raphe. On either side, this area is all loaded with fat. That is nothing but ischiorectal fossa. That means on either side of the anal orifice, we have lot of fat. Okay. Lokesh, can you tell me, no group answers, what is the purpose of fat in the ischiorectal fossa? No group answers. What is the purpose of fat in the ischiorectal fossa? Okay.
Expansion.
It allows the expansion of the orifice, external anal sphincter, isn't it? Nice, very good. Okay, now coming to the interior of anal canal. So the interior of anal canal, for our convenience, it has been divided into 3 areas. Okay, so what are the 3 areas? See, this is the upper part, this is the intermediate part, and this is the lower part. Okay, between the upper part and the intermediate part, you will see there will be one line formed by anal valves and anal columns. We will see more clearly. So this line is actually called as pectinate line. Okay, then here what is what is the lining epithelium, Abhinav, in throughout the GIT? What type of cells are lining the gastrointestinal tract?
Columnar.
Columnar, very good, columnar. So upper 15 mm is basically, you will see the columnar epithelium only. This is the intermediate area. Okay, 15, 15, 15. Last one is 8. Okay, so here this area is intermediate area, and at the junction of intermediate area and the lower true skin, there will be one line which is called as white line of Hilton or Hilton's line. Okay, so like that, the anal canal, though it is only 3.8 centimeters, but further it is divided into 3 parts: upper area, intermediate, and the lower area. Okay. Now see here, beta. So see, upper part of the anal canal, 15 mm. So it is representing what are the following features we see. See, you are finding U-shaped deep depressions over here if you clearly observe. Okay. So what are these? You are finding these are anal columns. All these anal columns, they are fusing in the lower part and they are actually forming the anal valves. And whatever empty spaces you are finding here, where fecal matter can actually, if it is there, it can actually accumulate there. Actually, those are called as anal sinuses. Okay. So the upper part of the anal canal, which is 15 mm, presents the anal columns. Okay. So these are the permanent mucosal folds which are present longitudinally. Okay, lower down, the fusion points of these anal columns are nothing but the anal valves connecting the lower end of the anal columns. Okay, so we also find histologically, if you check finger-like projections will be there, which are anal papillae. And whatever pocket like areas where something can accommodate or accumulate, those are the sinuses. And in this place, when you see histologically, like in stomach, we have gastric glands. Similarly, in the anal canal, you will see anal glands. Okay, so this is all about which part? Upper area of anal canal. Okay, now see here. This is Netter's atlas. You are seeing so nicely, it is all U-shaped, isn't it? So anal columns we have, anal valves we have. These are all depressions, isn't it? So this is, what is this line which is upper part? I told you what is this joining part of all these? Pectinate line. Okay, so this line, now where all anal valves meeting point is there, you call it as pectinate line. Okay, now what is this zone? Intermediate or transition zone. Okay, so now see anal columns, so which are here. So these are columns of Morgagni. These are permanent longitudinal folds. Usually they will be 6 to 10 in number. Okay, they contain radicals. That means in here mucosa is just peeled off, and then you are finding so many blood vessels just below the mucosa. That's the reason for the hemorrhoids. They bleed so heavily if something goes wrong. Okay, so which vein radicals you are finding? Superior rectal vein. Okay, now see, these are the anal columns are there, valves are there. Okay, so now this picture has been taken from Vishram Singh. So this actually I want everybody to practice. Actually, it's a very important picture what we have here. So basically, when you talk about any part of GAT, what are the 4 layers we have? Mucosa,
Mucosa,
submucosa, muscular, and serosa, isn't it? Mucosa, in the mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, and serosa. So in the muscularis externa, you will see inner circular layer and outer longitudinal layer. So this is now this black line, whatever you are finding, it's written here. This is the circular layer. And this is the longitudinal muscle coat. Do you remember I told you longitudinal muscle coat of the rectum and anal canal is taking part in the formation of perineal body?
Perineal body.
So this violet line is actually indicating that. Okay, this one. This
even sphincter, right? No?
it forms the sphincter also. It is coming from the rectum, it is moving to the anal canal, and see here it is modifying to form the conjoint longitudinal muscle coat. Okay, it is moving like this, and you see it is just splitting into so many counterparts and getting inserted into the skin. Okay, so these are actually fibroelastic septa. Because of this insertion of this muscle only, around the anal orifice, it looks as though wrinkles of skin will be there around the external anal sphincter, because of this type of insertion of the longitudinal muscle coat into the skin. Okay, this is the longitudinal muscle coat, and it is just splitting, and then it is getting inserted into the skin. Okay, so this is the importance of the longitudinal muscle. So apart from the longitudinal muscle, so if you are practicing this picture, we have very good, no? So these pockets like you are finding the anal, sinus, and all these ridges 6 to 10 in number, permanent mucosal folds we have, anal columns. No? What is the name of this line? In the first picture I told you, pectinate line.
Pectinate line.
Okay. Instead of pectinate line, here anal valve is written. Okay. What is this zone? I told you intermediate zone.
Transition.
Very good. Okay. Transition zone is given a separate name in Vishram Singh. Any point is correct, but you can also use the word pecten here. This is the white line of Hilton. It's written here. White line of Hilton. Okay. So below this you will have true skin, where hair, so many sebaceous glands are there. No, so this lower part, lower 8 mm. This is 15, this is 15, and this is 8. Upper, middle, and lower. Okay, so now we talked about this perianal fascia when we were doing ischiorectal fossa. Do you remember perianal fascia extending from the levator and it comes down? Here the fat is arranged in tight compartments, I told you, in perianal space. Try to recollect. Okay, because the fat is arranged in small locules very closely.
Painful.
You will see if there is any abscess or cyst in this area, it will be very much painful. Okay, so what now, apart from this, you are also finding the external anal sphincter muscle. Okay, 1, 2, 3, isn't it? So when you go from outside, just below the skin, the component is subcutaneous part. Above that you will see the superficial part, and above that you will see the deep part. So all this is external anal sphincter. Okay, so deep to this we have one more sphincter also, which is inside. Okay, so actually the circular muscle continuation, almost you call it as internal anal sphincter. This picture gives you so much information, in fact, which will help you to elaborate and write your answer, isn't it? Such beautiful picture it is. It has anal columns, anal sinuses, anal valves, isn't it? So then you are also finding, you remember, like puborectalis is one of the modification of the levator ani muscle, isn't it? Pubococcygeus, one of the modifications, huh? Which holds like a sling and maintaining the position of rectum and anal canal so that it is not prolapsing. Prolapse is prevented. So I want everybody to learn this picture. It's very good, easy. You can write many points from this picture. Hope you understood. Anyhow, points will be repeated, nothing to worry. This is Netter's atlas for our understanding. Here again, anal valves, columns, sinuses, pectinate line, transition zone, nothing but pecten, white line of Hilton, lower 1/3, true skin with hair. This area is one ischiorectal fossa, this area is one more ischiorectal fossa. Longitudinal muscle cord will be like this. It is splitting. Cutis ani, it is called as cutis ani because it splits and it puckers. Puckers means it makes the orifice circular. So many wrinkles around the external anal sphincter because of this longitudinal muscle cord. Okay. Is that clear? Outside is the external anal sphincter. No? External anal sphincter. This bulky muscle what you are seeing outside. This is what fascia? Perianal fascia. Isn't it? Perianal fascia. This is true skin. This is perianal space. Tight fat, loose fat. Okay. So now anal valves. Here they are shown. So these are crescentic folds of mucous membranes which connect the lower ends and the adjacent anal columns. This is one column. All longitudinal mucosal folds you have named as columns, and where they are joining lower down half moon U like thing, that is crescentic folds are nothing but anal valves. Okay. So the free margins of these valves are directed upwards. The positions of these valves are indicated by a line. What is the line formed here? Wavy line.
Pectinate line.
Pectinate line. Okay, also called as dentate line. Okay, this line. Okay, then sinuses means empty spaces, no? Vertical recesses between the anal columns. Okay, so what do we have here? The tubular anal glands present in the submucous, they open here. Okay, in the floor of anal sinuses. Okay, so these are the valves. Now, intermediate area, how much is the length? 15 mm. Extends from the pectinate line to the white line of Hilton, between this. So, as Abhinav was telling us, upper part, upper 15 mm is lined with which type of epithelium?
Simple column.
Simple columnar. But as you move on, gradually epithelium should change now. So here the epithelium is stratified squamous but non-keratinized. It's not like true skin. Okay, it is like esophagus where you have no keratin dead layer, no protein dead layer. No, similarly here also stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. And the mucosa lining here will be very much bluish, because in the first slide I have shown you scraping of mucous membrane and radicals of veins, isn't it? Here also you will have so much. There you had superior rectal. Here you will have middle rectal. Lower down you will have inferior rectal. 3 set of veins are there. So much of venous network is there just below the mucosa. Okay, so these are all forming dense venous plexus, which is lying just below the mucus layer. Okay, which is lined with, we can't even say mucus, it is like, because it is non-keratinized stratified squamous, it will not be as smooth as what mucosa feels. Okay, then it is adherent to the underlying structures. Then see, this is intermediate area, pectin. Okay, now basically when you see whole of the GIT, when I was talking about foregut, midgut, hindgut, do you remember? Whole of the GIT is developed from endoderm, except for the oral cavity and except for the anal orifice. Whole of the GIT is developed from endoderm. Okay, so what is the artery of foregut? Let me check how much
So
you have said.
electron. Electron.
Celiac trunk.
Very good. Hindgut?
Superior mesenteric.
Inferior mesenteric artery.
No, hindgut. Sorry, hindgut. I forgot.
Yeah.
Inferior.
Yeah, very good. Okay, beta. So you see here, upper 15 mm long. This is the only part which is derived from endoderm. Okay, rest all part, this pectin part and true skin part, this is derived from ectoderm, outside, true skin. Okay, so wherever you have ectodermal derivative, that area will be supplied with somatic sensory nerves. What is the like, not difficulty, it's a protective mechanism. Wherever you have somatic sensory nerves, there we will have pain sensation. So suppose here, whichever is derived from ectoderm, suppose in this area, if the venous network is becoming so much varicose, tortuous, and if it is rupturing due to constipation, here the person will come to us with painful hemorrhoids, okay, in this region. But suppose internal piles we have, external piles we have. Above the pectinate line, here you will see, if the venous network is rupturing, the patient presents with full bleeding in the fecal matter, but no pain. This is protective, or this is, pain is a good sign. In fact, as long as pain is there, you will bother. If pain is not there, array light, who will care, isn't it? It will be like that. That's what happens in leprosy. Leprosy eats all sensory nerves. Mycobacterium leprae is the name of bacteria. It all like eats away the sensory nerves, so that person will never care for any pain. There's so much, like his limbs also will be amputated because of severe infections. Of course, nowadays it is under control, but that is a best example how pain is very useful. Okay, so that means below this pectineal line, because it is derived from ectoderm, it is pain sensitive area. This you should remember, because we will be moving for clinical anatomy. Now this lower area, so it is how much? 8 mm. It is extending from like the middle panther transitional zone. What is this line? I said white line of Hilton. Okay, below that, whatever area is there, that is the lower area. Okay, here we will have sweat glands and sebaceous glands. That's the reason that area will be always moist, oily, and it of course shows pigmentation, because it will have more of melanin pigment. Okay, lot of hair, especially in case of male cadaver, you can observe. Okay, that is. The pectinate line is importance is, it is forming mucocutaneous junction. I told you there is transition of epithelium. Here you will have stratified squamous non-keratinized.
Non-keratinized.
But here you will see the lower 8 mm, you will see true skin. That means this junction, this line is called as muco. Like in the lips also we have no better, this margins of the lips is actually mucocutaneous junction. This is considered as mucus, this is considered as skin, and whatever lining we have, that is considered as mucocutaneous junction, isn't it? Then, so development, you know, like upper part is developed from
Endoderm.
and the lower part is developed from ectoderm. Okay, so the blood supply, so upper part is deriving its blood supply from superior rectal artery. Tell me, superior rectal artery is a branch of which artery? Endoderm.
Inferior mesenteric.
Hindgut part, that means hindgut is giving the upper 15 part. That's why it is being supplied by the branch of inferior mesenteric, that is the superior rectal artery. Lower part is supplied by inferior rectal artery. Inferior rectal artery is a branch of which artery?
Pudendal.
Internal
Intern.
pudendal.
Very good. Internal pudendal is a branch of internal.
Internal iliac.
Internally.
The venous drainage. The venous drainage upper part of that is the superior rectal vein is the tributary of portal vein. Lower part is inferior rectal vein. It is the tributary of systemic vein. That's the reason we will see we will have porta cable anastomosis here. Okay, junction of the portal vein and the inferior vena cava. Okay, superior rectal vein and the inferior rectal vein, they form anastomotic network. So whenever there is portal hypertension, that means people who are alcoholic, generally they will see the blood pressure may shoot up, and there are many areas where the portacaval anastomosis is there, which is exerted for under high pressure and it may rupture. Apart from rectal anal canal, what are the other areas where we have portacaval anastomosis which bleed severely? Esophagus, esophageal varices, umbilicus, caput medusae, isn't it? Very dangerous. Okay, that is usually in case of portal hypertension, these veins will rupture and patient will present with bleeding through the anal orifice. Okay. Now coming to the lymphatic drainage, upper part is draining into internal iliac nodes and lower part is draining into superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Watershed lines means the upper part will go up. Okay, there is no connection. Lower part is going down. So everybody has its own route. That is the meaning of watershed line. Okay. Then coming to nerve supply. So upper part is pain insensitive. Why? It is derived from endoderm. No, beta. It is inside. Supplied by superior hypogastric plexus and lower part is pain sensitive. Supplied by somatic spinal nerves. Please remember this. That's the reason external hemorrhoids or external piles are painful. Okay. So anorectal diseases start at
What, ma'am? External piles are what?
painful.
Okay.
Why they are painful?
Because they're innervated by somatic spinal nerves, which are pain sensitive.
Which are pain sensitive. Okay. The one which is derived from endoderm, no, that is being supplied by superior hypogastric plexus. Okay. So that is basically pain insensitive. Okay. So that is. See, always remember wherever there is change in the epithelium, that area will be prone for cancer. Mucocutaneous junction. Suddenly the epithelium is changing. Okay, initially it was columnar, now it has become stratified squamous non-keratinized, then it is becoming stratified squamous keratinized. Such epithelial change is one of the causes of cancers. That's the reason even in the cervix of the uterus, cancers are very common, because there also you will see inside the uterus endometrium will have columnar epithelium, but the cervix will have transition zone, because in the vagina we will have this type of epithelium, stratified squamous non-keratinized.
Non-keratinized.
Cervix will show dual epithelium, upper part columnar, lower part will show stratified squamous non-keratinized. So wherever we have change of epithelium, those areas are more prone for cancers. That you will learn in pathology next year better. Okay. So that is color contrast line. What is this line? I said Hilton's line, isn't it? So bluish pink area above, this black skin is there below. Okay. So this is the lower end of the internal anal sphincter, anal fascia and lunate fascia extend till here. Okay. Line of partition. Then what are the sphincter muscles?
Ma'am, what is this lunate fascia, ma'am?
Lunate fascia I have described when I was talking ischiorectal fossa. The obturator fascia and anal fascia
Right.
together,
Yes,
they form inverted moon-shaped area. That is the lunate fascia.
Okay.
Then anal sphincter. So how many sphincter muscles we have? Internal anal sphincter and external anal sphincter, isn't it? So the internal anal sphincter is It is the thickened inner involuntary circular muscle layer. I told you the circular muscle layer of the rectum only is continuing, isn't it? That is the internal anal sphincter. So it is involuntary, surrounds the upper 3/4 of the anal canal. So whatever has been shown in violet color for our convenience, okay, this is the internal anal sphincter. Okay, so it is the continuation of the muscle what is found in the rectum. Okay, which muscle I told you? The circular muscle.
Smooth.
Smooth muscle. Of course, those are smooth muscles only.
Circular.
Okay. It surrounds the upper 3/4 of the anal canal, extending from anorectal junction till the white line. You will see the extent of this muscle, internal anal sphincter. Okay, and it is not under our control. It is involuntary. Okay, so it is again supplied by superior hypogastric plexus. Whenever such plexuses are supplying, that means it is also pain insensitive only. Pelvic splanchnic nerves. Autonomous nervous system, no, it will not carry pain sensation. Only somatic nervous system will carry pain sensation. See, this is the external anal sphincter. So in that picture, Vishram Singh's diagram, I asked you to practice. So there, how many sphincters I told you? Subcutaneous, superficial, and deep.
Superficial and deep.
Like that. So this is external anal sphincter. Okay. So striated it is. It is not smooth muscle, Hansraj. It is striated, like skeletal muscle it is. Okay. Surrounds the whole length of anal canal outside the internal anal sphincter. That means internal anal sphincter is inside, external anal sphincter is outside. Okay. Parts, this is just below the skin, no? That's why you call it as subcutaneous part. Okay, if you just look at it, it will be a flat band surrounds the anus just under the skin, attached to the perineal body and anococcygeal raphe. This muscle will have its connection. This is the superficial part. Better you practice Vishram Singh's picture, it's good. This is the superficial part, elliptical. It surrounds the lower part of the internal sphincter above the subcutaneous part. Above the subcutaneous part. This is the deep part. This is like a ring. Okay, supplied by inferior rectal branch of pudendal nerve and perineal branch of S4. Okay, this picture I want you to practice. This is subcutaneous, this is superficial, and this is deep. This is external anal sphincter, which is striated muscle. Okay, whereas internal anal sphincter is the continuation of circular muscle coming from the rectum, and it is involuntary. Okay, this is pectinate line, this is white line of Hilton. Okay, the upper part, intermediate part, and the lower part. Now, do you remember we have certain modification muscles what we saw when we were doing the levator ani muscle? Okay, so we have anorectal sling, which is formed by puborectalis. That means at the junction of rectum and the starting point of anal canal, you will see the pubococcygeus part of the levator ani is modifying and trying to hold it and maintaining the curvatures of the rectum and the position of anal orifice so that it is not prolapsing outside. So this is anorectal sling. Okay, then so you have all these are just now we have studied, no, but external anal sphincter muscles, subcutaneous part. Okay, 3 different shapes were written, no, here, like surrounds the anus just. Okay, one is elliptical, one is annular, it is surrounding the skin, extending from the perineal body to anococcygeal raphe. Like that, 3 different rings in all the books. This is Vishram Singh, I also in Chaurasia. Any book, whatever you follow, these pictures are given. And this is essay question. No, better don't just neglect and try to read it properly. Okay, now what are the various positions of sweating? So see, this is actually unnatural, it seems. Like this is only the natural position because this is the ampulla of rectum and the fecal matter can easily go like when it is in this position. Okay, so that is. Now what is this digital rectal examination? What are we examining? Don't read anything, you know all this.
Prostate.
Posterior surface of
Alignment of prostate.
posterior surface of which lobe do we have here? Posterior lobe, isn't it, of the prostate? Do
Posterior
you
lobe.
remember? Do you remember the lobes of prostate? Anatomical and surgical
Yeah.
lobes. Tell me fast. Anterior,
Two
middle,
laterals, medial, anterior, posterior.
Anterior, posterior, two medial and two lateral.
Anterior, two lateral, posterior, and medial.
very
Medial
good.
one, right?
Oh, so many answers. I'm happy. Okay. So I will repeat. See, surgically we have anterior, median, and posterior. Right and left lateral. Okay. The other way in anatomy we have only median and two lateral. That's it. Okay. So if in order to check if there is any enlargement, we are generally doing this examination, which is per rectal examination. So in case of males, it is done to check for the prostate, but in case of females, in fact, we can check if the head of the baby has entered into the true pelvis or not. In case of placenta previa cases, it's not safe to go through per vaginal examination because placenta may get disturbed and there may be heavy bleeding. So in females, we can go with per rectal examination to see head engagement. Okay. So examination, we are checking the enlargement of prostate, female reproductive organs. If uterus is enlarged or ovaries are enlarged, you can enter into the Douglas pouch. We can check for the rectal bleeding also. So I was talking about this proctoscopy, no? So if you are doing it through oral cavity, you call it as endoscopy. If you are doing it through per rectum, then you call it as proctoscopy. You are checking the rectum and anal canal. In the rectum, if there is any tumor or if there is any overgrowth or if there is any obstruction or if there are any worms, everything can be checked with the help of this instrument. Okay, now, hemorrhoids. So highly vascular cushions consisting of discrete masses of thick submucus that contains blood vessels, smooth muscles, and connective tissue. Actually, what hemorrhoids, no, that means especially hemorrhoids are nothing but the varicosity. That means the network of veins which are enlarging and which are prone for rupture. Okay, so those are actually hemorrhoids. They are also called as piles. Okay. So here you will see the venous network is so rich and you will see we have these hemorrhoids in different positions. It can be 11 o'clock position, 7 o'clock position, 3 o'clock position. Okay. So based on which area the venous network is enlarged, we are just classifying it in this way. What is this position called as lithotomy? When you check in the lithotomy position, you have to check where, in which position the veins are enlarged. Okay, that is. So this is Chaurasia's picture better. Okay, so 11 o'clock position is there, 7 o'clock position is there, 3 o'clock position. 11 o'clock is called as right anterior primary pile. This is also right side, no, but on posterior aspect. Right posterior primary piles. 3 o'clock, this is on left side, left lateral primary pile. Apart from this, piles can, that means the dilatation of veins and rupture of veins can happen in any place, 360 degrees angle anywhere. If they start anywhere other than 11 o'clock, 7 o'clock and 3 o'clock, you call them as secondary piles. Okay. So this is external and internal hemorrhoids, I told you. So below this pectinate line, whatever we have, there you will see it is external hemorrhoids. And above that you call it as internal hemorrhoids. Which are painful, which are painless? External
External
hemorrhoid.
painful,
External.
internal painless.
Okay. Why does this occur? Generally, people who have prolonged constipation, okay, generally they usually suffer with this type of hemorrhoids. So hemorrhoids, we have different classifications also. If they are bulging in the lumen, this is first degree. If it is prolapsing, then second degree. Prolapse and there is spontaneously and require, that means that mucosal fold that filled with blood is, you can see from outside, that is third degree. But if you just push it back, it will go back into the anal orifice. That is third degree. Fourth degree is if you are trying to push it back also, again it is coming out through the anal orifice. That is fourth degree prolapse of hemorrhoids. Okay, something like this. Okay, you are trying to reduce it, reduction, but still it is not going back. So generally for this, we generally give topical, local drugs, okay, which will reduce pain or like, and basically we should control food habits. People should take good, like fiber rich diet, which will reduce constipation, okay, more vegetables and see that they take more water also, okay. So all junk foods which are made up of maida and all should be avoided better. So that is basically constipating. So if you just take care of that, generally we can prevent all these things. Okay. So these are surgical techniques where how that the hemorrhoids are removed. Okay, this is rectum has completely come out through the anal orifice, rectal prolapse. Okay, so this is before and after. So that means you are seeing the fold of the rectum has come out through the anal orifice, and this is after surgical correction. It is sutured here, you can see, pulled up and sutured. Okay, rectal carcinoma, cancer in the lumen. Okay. For rectal examination, you can see the lump, but we should give enema before we do these techniques. Enema is nothing but you are giving some soap water through the anal orifice and evacuating all the contents of large intestine so that you can see exactly where the lump is there any growth or something. Okay. So these are different types of you are finding, we are correcting it, like we are cutting and opening. If there is any like growth inside, if there is any cancer, we generally give instead of rectum and anal canal, you are putting a new device, a bag is connected outside so that the fecal matter is collected in the bag. Okay. If they have cancer of the lower part, anal orifice or rectum, you're just going to surgically remove this part. This is stoma